So many people asked for a tutorial in video editing, and I really mean many people asked for it, even though there are a ton of tutorials out there. After years of questions, I decided to show you the basic steps of how I edit my videos. Keep in mind that this is a basic tutorial. Editors have different ways to edit, so there's no norm on how to properly do something. In the end, it's all about art, and you form your art the way you like. This is what we are gonna do today. The free project file is linked in the description. To start, we need a song first. I always use SoundCloud to search for music. It's also the music streaming platform of my choice, and I upload music there too, so check out my profile, which is linked in the description. For the sake of the tutorial, I chose the newest track from Zaya. It's pretty slow, which is good for the beginning. His SoundCloud profile is also linked in the description. Use any SoundCloud downloader to download the track. Now we are searching for a fitting anime scene to edit to the music. Start your legally acquired copy of After Effects, because we ain't no pirates here, and drag and drop your song and the anime footage to this window. Then drag your anime footage to this button, which will create a composition with the same frame rate and video resolution as the anime footage. Just go to composition and composition settings to make sure it is full HD. In this case it isn't full HD, so just type in the full HD resolution. Make sure it's at 24 FPS or 23 point whatever. Just don't go 12 FPS or even 60 FPS, because just spare my eyes, okay? So we will start with the syncing. You just drag and drop your song to this point. Make sure, if you right click the composition here, that rectified audio waves is turned off, because if we double tap L, we can see the audio wave of the song. If we have the rectified audio waves on, it will show us this, which is very hard to sync to, so just turn it off. And yeah, I chose to take the drop, which is here. You can just mute and make the anime footage not visible, so then you can start syncing. Syncing is pretty easy, but very time consuming. You just press the star-shaped key on your number, like this one. This will place a marker on your timeline. Make sure that nothing is highlighted, so the marker will place on the top of the timeline. If you highlight the layer, the song layer for example, you will place the marker on the song layer, which will be very yeah, at a later point it will be very annoying. So just click on the empty space and insert a marker, so there is it at the top of the timeline. Then you just go to the first kick drum, like the drop, and insert the marker here. Make sure it is on the kick, not one frame before it, because this will not cut it properly. This will not look very good. So you will just repeat the marker setting over and over on every kick and clap. Like this one, there's a clap, I can already see it. If you're a newbie in it, you just go over it and listen to it where the kick and the clap is. That there's a clap, and you just continue like this on. Just make sure that it is really on the kick and on the clap. And then yeah, you just repeat it all over. So after you're done syncing, it will look like this. There are always marker at every kick and clap, and sometimes on between the kicks and claps, but that's just another thing. It will look like this, and I already also set the scenes, so we can look what it looks like right now.
It's a worthless fucking
So as you could see, if you have a trained eye, there were some scenes that are black screen at the end because they are not long enough. You just have to stretch it. Press the Control, Alt and T button on a scene. If you highlight the scene, that's important. The time remap effect will activate. You just press I on your keyboard to jump on the first frame of the scene and place a keyframe. Then you just press O on your keyboard to jump to the last frame of the scene and insert a new keyframe. So you can just drag the scene even though there is a new scene, but because you placed the keyframe there, you can drag it to the last frame of the scene and it will stretch. So you basically just stretch the scene to 2 frames and it fills up the whole space. So now we're gonna use TWIXTOR. It's important to say that TWIXTOR isn't working on every scene, so you preferably take slower scenes like this one, where the frames aren't far apart from each other. Like if you take this one, this is way too far apart in between. TWIXTOR can't frame sample that, so just make sure you don't take those. So yeah, you just pre-compose the scene you want to TWIXTOR with Control, Shift and C. Make sure you click the lower point and press OK. So then the scene is pre-composed and it's marked yellow. Just cut the left and right parts out with Control, Shift D. And then you can go into the pre-composition. There you have the scene, and then you just put up TWIXTOR Pro on it. Just try to copy and paste all the settings I have here. It's hard to say what exactly is the perfect setting for an anime because each anime is animated differently. So I just use 12 FPS here in this case. And it's also important to say that there are tons of ways how to use TWIXTOR in After Effects. This is just my way and it works. So you just insert or paste TWIXTOR Pro into this scene and go back to the main composition. Then you'll activate time remap with Control, Alt and T. And do the same thing I told you before. I for first frame and then keyframe. O for the last frame and then keyframe. And then you're gonna select all of them and press F9. And then we can go to the graph editor. The graph editor is a tricky thing. So we just select the lower ankle and turn it up. And then the upper ankle and turn it down. So the graph editor shows us the speed of the scene visually. So we can see that in the beginning it's going fast, in the middle it's going slow, and at the end it's going faster again. So if we render the scene and play it back now, so we can see the TWIXTOR is very stiff. I put it up way too far up and down. So we're gonna try it again and play it back. It's not perfect TWIXTOR to be honest, but it's enough for the beginning. Just make sure it doesn't warp too much, and the warps aren't too visible, like there on the bubble. We can see warping light reflections, but this is a small thing, so it isn't important. S-Shake is a plugin you can use for transitions between the clips. So just search up S-Shake in the top right corner and add a adjustment layer on the top of the timeline so it goes above every scene. And then you place S-Shake on it, and then you're gonna go to the tilt, make it everything 0, go to Z, make it everything 0, and go to X to make it everything 0. You turn on the motion blur. You can even put it up if you want. And then you can put the frequency to 18. So now what we're gonna do is go to the white shake and turn this up to 0 for the first point. Then we go page up 2 times to go 2 frames back. Then we start keyframing. I guess all of you know what keyframing is. Go back to the marker, set this point to 100 and go 2 points forward, make it 0 again. So now what we have is a small transition shake. We can up this a bit, like if we go to 2 for this, and frequency, yeah, I don't know, like 3 or something like this, and then we have transition if it would render. Then we have a small and fast transition like this. Then you can just Control C and paste it all over. Just make sure the middle keyframe is on top of under the markers, and yeah, just copy and paste all of it. So after you're done with the shake, you can watch it. So after you're done pasting all the shake settings, make sure that you add different shake settings into it so it doesn't look all the same. For example, I just showed you the Y-axis shake, but there's also a Z shake, which isn't really good for this kind of transitions, but the X shake is pretty useful, which is just a shake on the X-axis, so that should be no problem. Just add them to it, or just, you know, add a new S shake onto it, and try to copy the same things. I don't know, 26. Make everything 0. Y shake to 0. And then, you know, just X shake, put it to 100, to 3, motion blur, to... yeah, and then keyframe the X random amplitude to some fitting scenes, I don't know, for example this one maybe. You can delete the one you already had. Oh, I just keyframed it before. If you have to open the adjustment layer, just press U. So then you can delete the marker you already set. Do to 100 and then 0. So we have like a X-axis shake. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty well, but you know, you got the idea of it. What you can do next is adding motion tile to every scene you have. Like for example, if we have a black stripe on this scene, for example, there's a black stripe here. You just add the motion tile thing, and on width and height you just go, I don't know, 200 or something. You can just, doesn't even matter much, but the mirror is pretty important, so all the black stripes that are annoying you can go away. So at the end you have no black stripes anymore. Scaling is also pretty easy. You just highlight the layer and press S on it so the scaling option turns up. Make sure that something like the video resolution is on a third or something, so your performance doesn't suck that much, or turn down or hide the adjustment layer with the shake on it. Then you just, I don't know, go to like 180 or something. You can go deeper, like 200, and start the keyframing. Then you go to the last frame again, press O, and go back to 100. So then you select them, press F9, go to the graph editor again, and then you try to graph edit the way you like, for like this for example. Then we can just so yeah. As you can see, the scaling, it goes from a zoom in to the normal position. You can, you know, play around and like change it. You can, for example, make the normal position to the middle, and the last frame is 200 again. Then you can go to the graph editor again and make it a nice looking curve. pre-render it, and then and yeah, this is a thing you can play around with, especially if you press P. P is the position. You can change the position of the scene in the Y or X axis. This is up to you, or you can also press R for rotation. Like here, for example, if you want rotation here, just open up the rotation option with R. Activate the keyframe and then turn it to some degree, like, I don't know, up to 40. Select it, press F9, go to the graph editor and do the same thing over and over again. Just make sure that we can see black screens here. Just put up a motion tile here again and mirror it. Yeah, it's pretty bad because of the black stripes. We have to do this one, yeah, because we pre-composed it. The scene here has black stripes all over it, so just scale this one a bit, then there will be no black stripes here. And then you kind of made a rotation in this scene, but we need a rotation on the other scene so it looks good. Just go at the other side, like -40, 0 with motion tile, I don't know, like this. It would be nice if you use scaling here too, like a small one, 130 for example. Use graph editor. Didn't use graph editor before on rotation, so we have to do this. Then your rotation is gonna look like this. And yeah, that's it basically. So at the end, after activating all the effects and after being done with the scaling, this will look like this.
So worthless fucking
So now we are done with the basics. What we can do now is several effects, like if you Control A every layer and pre-compose them. Then you can add a solid color, make it black, and then you can add CC jaws on it. Then you can like play around on the completion if you put 0 to the height. This will act as cinematic bars, like around 80 is fine, I guess. 58 maybe. I don't know. Looks pretty good like this. Then if we go back to the composition, the start is a bit harsh, so we can like keyframe the transparency. If we open up the transparency with T. Then we can put it on 0, press O, do it on 100, maybe speed grab it a bit, like this, and the song starts harshly too, so we just go to the audio setting with L and keyframe the volume, yeah. Like this. So we have a better beginning. And then, like in the end, you can hear 3, I don't know what it really is, 3 claps, 3 snares. Oh, it's more than 3. Yeah, for the basics we can simply just add solid colors on it. If you just add a solid color on it again, put it on top of every scene, and I don't know, make it maybe 2 frames long. Like this, and we delete every second solid color. So it looks like this. It's pretty okay. I wouldn't do this personally, but I mean for the beginning it's alright. Then we can go back to the fully pre-composed thingy, whatever, and add like a magic bullet looks. So we can go to the edit tab. Oh, it's a bad frame. We need a good frame so we can see what it will look like. Like this, for example. First thing, I want it to be black and white. Then curves. We're gonna do it like this to lower the contrast. So then we have pop. Pop is a good thing to like sharpen it a bit. Or you know, you can actually, for this type of mirror, you can even put double in it so it looks stronger. The edge softness looks good too. Haze flare is a really good one. I always use that one too. Depends. You can just default settings. Lens distortion for some smaller edge things. Diffusion a bit. Maybe turn this. No, turn it up. Put this down. Yeah, a bit of grain. Color mode off, and then turn the mode a bit on. Yeah, this looks fine, I guess. Or yeah, like this. Yeah, and basically, I mean, you got a nice looking CC. Maybe we could add chromatic aberration a bit. I don't know what color exactly. Maybe this one. Oh, watch out! Do it after the hue saturation thing, so it won't get black and white too. It's a bit much, maybe 0.5, a bit less. Yeah, one is pretty fine. With it, we can add several effects too, like RSMB. I have a preset here, so you can just copy and paste it. Basically, it's for a harder edit, so I guess it's a bit. Yeah, we're gonna lower this down to like 60 and blur 50 is fine, I guess. We can also sharpen all of it with the effect sharpen. Make it like, I don't know, 50. And then we gonna add unsharp mask. Do this to 15 and 50-ish. So we have stronger edges. Looks pretty good too. So not bad. And then we can, just to get all of the edges out with the sharpen and all the random effects, like there is a white line here. Just go like scale it to 101, so all the edge effects are gone and it won't look so bad. So yeah, I adjusted a bit of the effects like RSMB and the magic bullet looks, so don't be confused. If you're ready to render, search the point where you want to start the edit. I just start normally when the scene starts, and then press B. So you know, the timer here, the marker, starts with your cursor. Then you go again to the end of the scene like this and press N. So this is gonna be your render. This is what gonna get rendered by After Effects, so don't forget this. The two markers here are really important. And if you're done, you just go to data, or file, actually file, and export and add to render queue. Here it is, yeah, depends on what you already have. Like if you go to the output and go to the format options, I always use Lagarith lossless codec as the video codec. This is something you have to download and install first, so if you don't have it, just use it. It's the best codec you can have. Then make sure it's AVI format. Here, like the render options, you can choose and see what resolution and frame rate you edit it to. So, you know, just to double correct it and make sure that you're good to go. And yeah, then you can just save it somewhere and then render it, and then you're done. That's basically it. If you want proper insights of my edits with several presets you can save, you can buy my project files on PayUp for little money. I'd appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If there is a high demand, I will continue to make tutorials.